Hello, I'm Toycat, and by the end of today's video, I'm going to have a floating island above my Minecraft world. Technically, this is already true because I have the ice islands. However, as much as I enjoyed this project, both in building and the results, I realized after building it that it's great and all, but it is only so high above the ocean, and it needs to be much, much higher. It needs to be above the cloud height. It needs to be so far above the cloud height, it looks like a brand new dimension, and that's where my fun idea was, to go as high as we possibly could in Minecraft, so high that everything looked tiny by comparison, and that's what I'm building in today's video. So, hello, I'm Toycat. Welcome back to an episode of the Minecraft Bedrock Update Adventures, and today I actually have a very specific spot I've chosen out my world already for this very build, because I want to do it in the old size world, the place that's lit up very, very well, and I have lots of great ideas as to where an island would be great in the sky, but I feel like it has to be something above something that doesn't exist yet. Rather than just darkening an existing forest or ruining an existing build with new lighting conditions, you need to bear in mind that when you build something brand new, it's going to affect everything, and so I figured this right here, it's a swamp biome that is actually a desert biome, and so it looks something more like a savanna biome, just with no trees or anything else like that. I figured this would be the perfect place to build in the sky. Look at the unobstructed view that you'd get from up there, and also, another key point, I would never notice the darkness down here anyway. However, in spite of that, I think that before building big islands in the sky, maybe out of endstone blocks, maybe out of dirt, who knows for sure, I feel like something that is very important that we should keep in mind is that we are going to be messing with the light levels, and if you don't want mobs to spawn, obviously they're changing, light works, but if you don't want mobs to spawn and you want to keep things pretty, it's worth playing around with the floor down here, and so I'm going to do precisely that. I'm going to be spending today's video mostly working on the grass and the area below it, which means we need lighting. We're also going to need like a ton of scaffolding, so let's just grab all the bamboo we can, and indeed, let's make this happen. Because this needs to be so high in the sky that I feel like we can't even build most of the project with the current height limit. I want to make this a project that's so high up in the sky, you go, isn't that a bit too much? And then I go, yeah, actually it is. So we are full on taking advantage of as much of this height as we physically can. As a pro tip, you can build scaffolding and place it at the exact same time. And if maybe you have several stacks of scaffolding to place, this is a very smart way to do it. And so here we are, 256 blocks in the sky. We literally can see nothing down below with the realm's render distance. And make sure you stick around to the end to see us with our island that will be placed. And also to see one of my favorite things, which is once we place the island, we no longer need this giant stack of scaffolding. So we'll be able to make scaffold rain. But that's for another time. For now, let's get lighting. And there's only one logical source of lighting for a biome like this, right? That's right, it's shroom lights, the only logical choice for a savanna-style biome, in my opinion. And so yeah, we're going to be gathering a ton of shroom lights today, as well as killing some hoglins, because it's been a while since we've done that as a source of food. And so yeah, in today's video, I'm going to be making this big sky island. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to the end of it, obviously. But during the project, there's a lot of fun, and you know, that's kind of my major point with what I've been enjoying in life in this past week, because obviously this Let's Play is not just a weekly update as to what's going on in the Let's Play world, but as well as life, the universe, and you know what's been going on in my life. And so, long story short, this week has been great because the home stuff has been going better. It's one of those weird things of you don't realize how much effort it is to like maintain the status quo, because there's a lot of people who go through the effort of doing that for you. And one of the things is like, you know, having floor in a house is like, yeah, you have floor, it's there and it exists. But, so, because of some housework I was doing, I'd have the floor taken up for a full 2 weeks, and it's crazy that you don't realize that floor is actually a cool human invention, you know? Like, we don't just have floor by default, you know? Houses aren't just built and then there's magically carpet or there's wood down there. No, that takes a lot of effort, and indeed, a lot of time from a skilled tradesman. Or probably you could do it yourself, it's like a jigsaw. But my point is even the most basic concept of floor, something you never think about, is hard. And so yeah, this last week has been me doing that for a variety of things, like, oh yeah, lights. Yeah, like having lighting come in requires electricity and sockets and safety and, oh god, it's so I've been having a lot of like overwhelming things like that. But the thing that I find most interesting is I've been speaking, so I've been also trying to get some other stuff sorted. Namely, I've been working on I need a new bathroom because my current ones are leaking water all over my living room floor. It's a big problem, and so I've been speaking to a bathroom person about it. And every single time I said she's like, oh yeah, I'll get this to you tomorrow. She says a thing, she'll get it to me the next day, And then what ends up happening is the next day passes and I'm like, oh, it's a Thursday. Who does work on a Thursday after all? And then Friday's there and it's like the weekend and like, you know, let's be honest, no one's done anything but yeah. And so like a whole week will pass and I'm like, huh, it's odd that it still hasn't gotten to me because, you know, even though tomorrow in work speak can mean like 2-3 days, you know, it's been a solid week now. And so I'll always wait like a week and a half and send a message like, oh yeah, hey, just wanted to know how this was going. And every single time she'll be like, oh, I was actually working on it just now. I'll have it over to you in 10 minutes. And like, it always is there in 10 minutes. I have to hand it to her. But it's like, I think about this just like obvious lie concept of like, do people like being obviously lied to? Like I used to think that it was demeaning when people said like, oh yeah, if you're want to be a member of the army, make sure you smash that subscribe button, I don't know, dumb stuff like that, right? Like telling you obvious lies in videos as a law to get you to subscribe. Like, oh yeah, if you're subscribed, you might win some of these things or whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, I feel like, personally, I always find it to be like semi-insult, like intelligence insulting, but also more than that, it's just like, why don't we just tell the truth? I feel like the truth has a lot of value to it because the truth is what's actually there, whereas, obviously lies are a made-up concept. We're all just inside our own heads. But I feel like most people actually, I used to think that was everyone that thought the same way as me, but the more I deal with different people, the more I realize actually, maybe it's not. Like, it's really great when people tell you the truth, and that's what I still prefer for me. But I think a lot of people would prefer, like, oh yeah, if you tell a version of something that's not the truth, you don't have to make it so embarrassing. If I say, oh yeah, sorry, the reason I didn't have a video up, like, last Wednesday is because, I don't know, I was feeling lazy and I wanted to have a curry, and I knew I should have made a video, but instead I ordered some Deliveroo curry, and now I ate curry instead, I'm sorry. That's less exciting than like, oh yeah, well I really wanted to make a video, but I was getting eaten by a bear. And, I value making videos for you guys more than being eaten by a bear, but it physically tore apart my ligaments. And you're like, wow, Toycat must really care about us. And so yeah, like, it sounds like lies... It sounds like lies are something you want to inherently avoid, and as someone who grew up around a fair amount of lies, obviously, I personally think that. But the fact that we weave so many lies into, like, the bedrock of our society, the bedrock of our society, it makes me wonder if we're actually all happier that way. It's like, I don't know, what's a dumb example? Like, traffic signs, Like, even though, in reality, the way we worked out speed limits most history is we worked out what speed people would naturally go on a road, and then we put a speed limit down that I think it would be like 90% of people would be going below the speed limit, so that way you could make the 10% most dangerous drivers do that. People actually see speed limits as like, oh yeah, this is the way, you have to go on the road if you're a non-driver, whereas if you're a driver, it's like, yeah, speed limits are more safe suggestions. And so everyone gets what they want from that lie. The sign does nothing, but it makes everyone feel a little bit safer, for no good reason in my opinion. But, that's a dumb example. Maybe a better example would be something like, oh yeah, the law. Did you know, for example, that you cannot be fired for, a better example is you can't be paid less than the minimum wage in your jurisdiction. If you live in the United States, I want to say that's $7.25. Obviously your state then might have a different one, but like what really happens if you're paid less than that? What if you get paid more and then what if you get paid more less than that, or what if you work via your own contracting company? One of my favorite examples of this is that there are so many companies in Silicon Valley. Microsoft is one of them, but like there's the guy who says he has a minimum wage at his company of $70,000, who also of course does this. Where it's like, yeah, so we have all of our employees, and they make a minimum of some crazy high amount. We're such a great employer, but then they contract out services to companies. And if they're just paying the company for their services, it's not their business what the company pays its employees, right? And so as a result, it ends up just meaning like, yeah, we just don't employ cleaners directly. Anyone that earns less than $70,000 isn't employed by our company directly. Or, there's a ton of examples of things like this, of like, we love the lies that make us feel good as a society. And I started to wonder, like, why could that be? And I think the biggest reason is that we just all have things we value, sometimes more or less than other things. I value, for instance, mining my own shroom lights rather than just farming some. Because I think it's fun. I feel like, it's like an actual interaction in the Nether in a slightly dangerous place. I'm getting hoglins and getting some cooked pork chops in here. I find that to be a lot of fun. Some people only want to farm anything. What's the point of doing anything in Minecraft if you can't farm it. The whole point of Minecraft is it's like cookie clicker. You do something so you get more of the something, and so on and so forth. You know, to some people it's alien that I would do this manually, just using my own netherite hoe that doesn't even have mending on, by the way. Like, why would I do these things? I've been playing Minecraft for long enough that I don't have to, and yet I'm still choosing to. And the simple answer is, yeah, things are weird, huh? Things are really weird. And yeah, people have different priorities to you on all sorts of things that you probably don't think about. And that's probably better not to think about, if I'm being honest with you. Like, we do live in a very big society, and some people prefer, like, yeah, just lie to me and make me feel like I'm important. Like, yeah, of course, you Mr. Paying Customer, I'm gonna get you this thing as fast as I can. That feels like an important thing to do, right? Like, because then you get to feel like, yeah, I'm important. I'm paying whatever bathroom costs. I'll give you a clue. It's a large amount of money, but you know, like, I'm paying for the service, and they're focusing exclusively on me. You know, I feel like everyone has this opinion of, like, yeah, honesty is the truth and it's all the best, until there's like a lie that they've been told that they preferred to the truth, and they're like, oh, I actually preferred believing that, you know, like, I don't know, what's a sad example? You ever hear of no-kill shelters, right? So it's animal shelters that never kill their animals. And it's like, oh yeah, those are the best. Let's only support those. But the way it actually works is they only adopt animals they know can be adopted out. They can't kill animals, so they have to be very, very careful about which animals get selected. And so the animals which are more, you know, less likely to be adopted, let's not be mean to animals here, they don't deserve that, they go to shelters that do have a yes-kill policy. And so it's like, oh yeah, you're actually just moving the deaths onto someone else, you know? Like, there is still, sadly, a mismatch between the number of animals people want and the number of animals that are available. Sadly, there is a lot more available than people want. That's why you shouldn't buy from a breeder, by the way, life pro tip, because you're adding to the supply. It's like how, like, ideally, if you were being a great human, you would, you know, like, adopt an already existing child rather than having your own one, you know, make the world better rather than just adding more people to it. But it's also like, yeah, we like the fictions of, like, no, you need to have your own child. You need to have a cat that looks really good in Instagram posts, because, you know, like, obviously, if that's like a key part of the cat experience. And honestly, there's just no space in shelters. I mean, that hasn't been true in years, but, like, yeah, that's basically true. And yeah, like, I totally agree, by the way. Like, there's so many. I'm not trying to, like, preach here about all of these things. I feel like a lot of people get down that rabbit hole of, like, yeah, and this is why, and then they'll sell you something. But I think the reality is, it's just, there are things we like to believe that aren't true, and sometimes, oh, look at this. Sometimes people will lie to us and tell us those things are true, and I feel like it's kind of our fault for wanting to believe sometimes. You know, like, I for a while I was, like, upset with the, you know, the person who just wouldn't admit to me, like, yeah, I forgot about you till you emailed me, because then they could be like, oh, I'll just send them an email every 2 days until the thing gets done. Because again, it's happened 3 times now. The first time I was like, oh, that's a cool coincidence. The second time where she's like, oh, yeah, I was just writing an email to you right now. I was like, it's weird that after 2 weeks you'd write me an email. But sure, strange enough. And then while trying to get, like, an invoice for all the prices of things, she was like, oh yeah, it's funny, I just about finished that and I was about to send it to you. It's like, why? Why don't we just... At least if you're gonna lie, pick a believable lie, you know? That's the, I think that's the funny bit that is at the end of this, of, like, sometimes the real answer is, like, just pick a more believable lie. Just don't. Oh god, my phone is going off. You know, don't come up with something that I can obviously tell is fake, because then that makes me sad too. Side note, speaking of things that make me sad, I love this build, and I feel like not enough people love it too. But it's look, it's a field full of oxeye daisies in the Nether. Is that not quirky enough for you? Do you not love it as much as you love your own firstborn son, and/or a puppy that looks like it'd go get an Instagram? Okay, maybe you don't. The clouds are grey, but it's not raining. What do you think that means? I genuinely don't know. I've never seen this before. Something feels off, though. Anyway, so now we need to do the important thing, which is digging some holes in the ground to put these shroom lights over. I'm actually, you know, like, in my head, I'm imagining that at some point we'll have dirt slabs, and that's how I'll hide these in the ground. But I think realistically, we just have to bank on, like, yeah, we'll put these in the ground, and it'll look strange for a while, and that's just going to be fine. And so yeah, we'll do them in a fun little pattern corresponding to the torches. So it'll look something like this, and worst case, it'll just be a weird little zany hole in the ground. So yeah, we're going to very specifically dig them in as many places as we can, and it's going to be great. By the way, make sure you stick around for the very exciting bit. We are going to have a full island at the end of this video. It might not look like it now, but it's going to be great when we get there. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful thing. But yeah, I sometimes wonder about, like, because, you know, like, sometimes people say, like, yeah, I only like things that are real. And it's like, well, you might believe that, but I've been rewatching Rick and Morty recently, going for a whole binge of all the series. It's been pretty good. I enjoy that show a lot. And you know what? Did you know that Rick and Morty are both fake? They only exist in the confines of that TV show. I know, it's mind-blowing to me too. Are you telling me that this isn't a documentary that is just for some reason cartoony and animated? And would you believe it? It is in fact not. It's crazy, I know. And that's because, yeah, we don't just have real and fake. We have fictions. We have things that aren't true but are still in all of our different heads. Even when you get into it really deep, you can prove that, like, the very existence of Microsoft or the very existence of Amazon are just fictions. You know, there are physical delivery vehicles that exist driving Amazon packages around, and there are physical Amazon packages, and maybe even you could argue there's a physical Amazon website. I mean, it does exist when you type in Amazon whatever your browser extension is, but at the same time, there is no, you know, like, if all humans died, with humans would die the concept of Amazon, right? Like, it would, the very website wouldn't exist because it was just always a concept to begin with. And, you know, like, it's hard to, I don't know, like, I've been thinking about a lot more about how, like, all of these ideas that we almost, like, again, we love to have something to hold on to, but ultimately, like, how much can you hold on to? Maybe this is just, like, Toy Cat Has an Existential Crisis, the series. But, yeah, the more you think about it, the more you realize that basically nothing can be confirmed to, like, be... You know, it's like, I think every, like, philosophy, like, class or anything you ever take will start with this basic point of, like, you can't really prove anything. When we look at the same color red, we can't prove it's the same red we're looking at. Like, well, is this color green that's on my monitor right now the same color as your green? It's actually not, because different monitors, different color calibration. But even if you ignore that point, and if we brush that one to the side, it's still like, okay, so if this green is the exact same and it's on the same monitor, how can we be sure we're looking at it? You can never fully communicate your part of the human experience to someone else in a way that you can both confirm is very much true. And, you know, as a result, like, how do you ever know if something that... You know, even when we talk about concepts, it's like, sometimes people understand them entirely differently. What is a Let's Play, you know? Like, it is something you're watching right now. This is episode 522, I want to say, of the Minecraft Update Adventures Let's Play. But what is a Let's Play? Is it, you know, a thing where... How is this different to that? Oh, this is one block too far to the... You know, easily fixed, right? We just dig a few more holes, and then we'll fix that. But, you know, what is a Let's Play? You're watching one... But, like, defining it can be hard. It's where someone plays a game, and it's like, am I playing a game right now? I mean, I am. Minecraft is a game. Is it a Let's Play if I stop playing the game? Now, look at me. I've got my hands off the controller. Wait, do you want to see my hands off the controller? Let me show you with my hands off the controller right now. Maybe, look at this. Is this a Let's Play now, or is it not? I mean, you're looking at the game. What if we turn off the game? Magically, let's imagine the game is off. Wait. Power of editing. The game is off. Now is it a Let's Play? What if the game is still running? Now I'm playing the game, but you can't see the game because it's all turned off. Is it... I know this is all stupid and arbitrary, and a lot of people are like, Toy Cat, this is the dumbest thing you've ever made. And I totally agree with that assessment, by the way. This is the dumbest thing I've ever made. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this 5 seconds of face cam. For those of you who just seeing my face for the first time, I'm sorry about it too. I think it's... You know, like, what would it still be a Let's Play if I use my face entirely? Why does that change anything? Does it change anything if I stop playing the game? Where does the start and end begin? It's a broad concept. There's lots of different places you can take it, and so yeah, that seemed like a lot of words to just say. I don't know. Is anything real? You know, like, is my bathroom person really lying to me and giving me an existential crisis, or am I just taking it too far? Is she actually just being polite and maybe the polite thing to do in this situation is just to do exactly what she did. So if I put if I put glow, if I was gonna do these middle ones, I'd have to put shroom lights in the middle there. So I think what I'll do instead is I'll just have the ones here and like here. Yeah, 2 blocks to the side. Probably should have done that block down, but it's fine. And that way, we won't mess with our big hole going through the middle of the world. A rather big trench. I was gonna dig that whole thing all the way down to bedrock. Look, I even put signs under the water so the boats could go over it still, but you could still. You know, I put a lot of effort into something that I've since stopped caring about, and it's weird to think about the number of things you care about like very intently, and like, yeah, it's the most real thing in the world, but then you might forget about. Again, being on YouTube, like I've said before, one of my biggest fears that I'm exposed to on a daily basis because of the YouTube algorithm is being forgotten about. Like, people who are like, yeah, this is the best thing ever, I'm so excited to see this, then the next day it's not recommended to them, and they might make a note to go find it themselves, or they might just assume that I haven't uploaded, and then the next day it's like, huh, Toycat also hasn't uploaded. That sure is strange, huh? And then it just continues on infinitely. It's very sad and it's very interesting. Anyway, so now we've got this wonderful area over here, where as you can see, even though it's dark, it's even extra bright because of our shroom lights. Maybe we should extend them this way a little bit. No, I like this being a square, actually. So now what we can do is we can start work on the island. It's going to be great. And yeah, so one of the points I've been considering heavily is that, ooh, those two go a little bit too far out. You know, we'll pretend that's not true. Or we could just place the rest of the shroom lights around it in some way. Now we're going to do the best thing, which is actually placing the island down itself. This is the start of something very exciting. I know a lot of you are just here in this video because you're here to see me make this brand new island, and I'm excited to do because the height limit is raising in 1.18, right? And so utilizing that height limit to make some floating sky island biome is such a fun idea. In fact, rather than just making sky islands, I want to use it as an opportunity to make an end island of some form in the overworld. And so that's something I totally intend to do. I totally intend to take my islands I'm building today and build them into an end later, because one of the things that I'm afraid to tell you about is that actually, you know, I mentioned very clearly at the start of this video that by the end, there would be an island that is built. And I intend to stick to my word. However, with a little bit of, sadly, finagling, you might notice that my island is actually just a single block of endstone. Except that's just a block, right? That's not an island. So I made sure, just to be sure, 3 blocks, that is now definitively an island. And this is the start of where the progress will begin on what will be a giant whole thing. However, for now, I can't place a single block up here, so I guess that's that. Can we even place fire up here? I don't think we can. Yeah, you can't light it on fire. It tells you the height limit of building is 256 blocks, and so we have to leave it for now. We have to jump down, we have to watch the world come back into view, and we have to say that actually, that is my island. Is it technically not an island? Did I, technically not get you? Ah ha 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 ha. But no, yeah, would you have preferred if I just said, yeah, all we're doing today is laying the groundwork, quite literally? You probably would have, and yet I have the data that shows that, like, the less interesting titles that people always request, like, yeah, just put Let's Play in the title, why put all this complex stuff in the title and intro? And the answer is that actually people do click on and watch more videos that have more interesting premises, even when the premise is barely delivered on. And obviously this is something I don't intend to do very often, but it's something that makes you think about, like, huh, maybe you don't know yourself. And all I know is that I don't know myself about anything besides that I hope you will enjoy this video. And I hope I remember where those 3 endstone blocks are. I'll find them. Can you see them from here? I feel like you can't. Am I wrong? Can you see the 3 endstone blocks? Did I make an island today? Or was it an illusion? I don't know for sure, but I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Minecraft Bedrock Updated Adventures Let's Play, because I'll see you all in the next day. Goodbye.